Welcome back to Big Mouth and welcome back because not only are you getting the DCEU Daily today, you're getting a bonus because this interview between Zack Snyder and Total Film has just broke and I thought I'm not going to wait till tomorrow. I'm going to do this now, you lucky people. Zack Snyder talks Justice League. Frankly, it was meant as the primer for another two movies. He keeps on twisting the screw on Warner Media. He's hyping us, the fans, up and putting the pressure on them to green light him to make his other two movies. This is the game here. This is not just about building momentum for Zack Snyder's Justice League Snyder Cut. He is so smart. And I think a lot of you underestimate how smart this guy is. Exclusive, Zack Snyder tells Total Film that Justice League was meant to be like Lord of the Rings and not a one-off. Zack Snyder's Justice League was never meant to be just one movie. The director's vision for the Justice League saga was always intended to be so much more. Yet unlike the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the DC movies have been far less connected. And the filmmakers behind these blockbusters certainly see their creations as not entirely in sync with each other. In a lot of ways, I view this movie on its own, Snyder tells Total Film. In the latest issue of the magazine, I love Wonder Woman director Patty Jenkins, and I think she's done an amazing job. And Aquaman director James Wan has done a great job. They've made their own movies, but I just thought I'm going to stay the course that I thought was cool. There's a bunch of stuff I do differently than what they do, but I just think of Justice League as its own thing at this point. It exists kind of on its own. Which raises an important question for anyone who's ever followed a superhero franchise, on screen or in comics. Which one is canon? I think fans would say that my movie is canon and the rest are off canon. That's true. But that's just me. Snyder laughs before getting slightly more serious. For me, there's a trilogy of films that I sort of lean on. Man of Steel, Batman v Superman and Justice League are a continuity. And within that three movies arc, there is a consistent tone. Frankly, it was meant as the primer for another two Justice League movies. Not that those movies are ever going to get photographed. I don't see that happening. And it stays true to that concept. It was meant to be like Lord of the Rings and not a one-off. That's the way I think about it. Again, Zack amping up the pressure, amping us up, getting the hype zone up. That's never going to happen. They're never going to be photographed. I don't see it. Remember the whole thing with the clapperboard. Remember what he said in the unlikely event we do additional photography for Justice League. The unlikely event. It's the same thing. It's his primer for fighting for more. Don't take what he says the wrong way. This is meant to inspire us and put pressure on Warner Media. While Snyder has dampened any expectations that a second or third Justice League movie will ever happen, fans are still hoping that a big enough reaction to the new cut would spur on rethinking at Warner Brothers. Zack Snyder's Justice League is scheduled to stream on HBO Max in the US, on the VOD services in the UK. Right, important. People keep on saying on Twitter that there's no announcement. This is what's going to happen. Let me repeat. Zack Snyder's Justice League is scheduled to stream on HBO Max in the US and on video on demand services in the UK from March the 18th. So basically, I'm part of Amazon Prime UK, so I will stream it via video on demand. And anyone in the UK, so you know that this is official. So that's really cool. Now, they haven't put the whole interview on here, but there is a bit more from another post which I'm about to read out to you. Zack Snyder talks Joss Whedon's Justice League and things being twisted during production by Jack Shepard and Richard Edwards. Exclusive, Zack Snyder talks to Total Film about the pressure to make Justice League funnier and to lighten the tone. Zack Snyder's Justice League, the director's new cut of the superhero team-up, has almost arrived. The theatrical cut, which was shaped by Joss Whedon, will soon be a distant memory for everyone. Well, except for Snyder himself, who has never seen Whedon's version of the movie. Because I've never seen the theatrical version of Justice League, I don't know exactly what from my movie is in that movie, Snyder Tells Total Film, in the latest issue of the magazine. But I have heard from people who were on my crew and then continued on with Whedon. There was about an hour of reshoots. Wow. So basically, there is an hour of Zack Snyder's photography in the theatrical cut of Justice League. That's interesting. But I have heard from people who were on my crew and then continued on with Whedon. There was about an hour of reshoot. So I guess they used about an hour of my footage. And they pretty much touched every shot wherever it was for ADR or whatever. I think my movie is a chance to get into the characters and story beats a lot more. Snyder's new version will be a lot longer, clocking in around 4 hours compared to the theatrical version's 2 hours. Within the new runtime, fans can expect 2 brand new scenes shot last year, and the rest were filmed during initial photography and have new VFX. That first shoot was not easy for Snyder. The filmmaker reveals that the studio put pressure on him to make it funnier. The original plan was absolutely being twisted during production, but I was there to fight them, Snyder recalls. Even though there was pressure on me to make it funnier and lighten it, I would persist as much as I could to keep the tone as much as I could, because you're a legend, Zack. I added a bunch of things for them, and I was always careful to make sure I covered things both ways so that it didn't affect the movie story-wise. It was my hope that in post-production I'd be able to force my will upon them. So that's brilliant. Whedon's cut did have a few funny lines. Well, you could call them funny. Yet Snyder's will undoubtedly have a more serious tone. The new cut also features the 2 new scenes filmed last year, one of which adds Jared Leto's Joker to the movie. Hopefully the reviews will be kinder to this new version of Justice League. Zack Snyder's Justice League is scheduled blah, blah, blah. So basically what you're getting here from Total Film is not the falling. Both of these kind of segments I've read to you, there's so much more to these interviews. You need to get this edition of Total Film if you want to read everything. So you won't be able to see it on the internet. So I've just tried to, basically, one of my responsibilities here is to keep you in touch with what's going on within the DC Extended Universe, especially with the Snyderverse of the DC EU. So there you can get a really good idea that he was under such pressure to make it lighter, to make it funnier. In a lot of ways, this is not the studio's fault. This is the media's fault. Those fans who were so obsessed with the MCU, they wanted DC to be the same. But what did they learn in the end from putting this pressure on? What did we get through the theatrical cut? An amalgamation of 2 visions. It was a mess. And it didn't have to happen. All that had to happen was, let Zack do his trilogy, let him move on, then the next creative comes on. That's all they had to do. Now, God forbid whether that be Whedon, Jeff Johns, or both of them, they could have done that. But they didn't go down that direction, and it was an utter mess. It does feel like we're approaching Christmas. Something really exciting is happening here, everyone, and I just can't wait to see it. Now, it's also very exciting right now because a lot of people are claiming that they've got these review versions of Zack Snyder's Justice League Snyder Cut. They've been given the honour to watch this movie, this much anticipated movie by the world, before all of us. So this week, they've got copies of the film. Now, I don't know how it works, physical copies or via the internet. Also, beware of DVD pirated rips on the internet. If you want to support Zack, if you want to support this film, do not touch them, please. It's very, very important you avoid the illegal versions of this. They are going to show up on the internet, unfortunately, but you need to avoid them if you're here for Zack. So I'm certainly here for Zack. I'm really, really excited. And to hear what Zack's going everywhere. This is brilliant. He's talking to Total Film. He's talking to Vanity Fair. He's talking to everyone. Everyone wants to talk to Zack Snyder. And the marketing push is so, so big. So comment down below, like, share and subscribe. And I'll be back tomorrow with more videos. See you again soon.